Welcome back to another Smackdown recap video. Today we're going to be breaking down the final episode before SummerSlam. We had a championship match, what was a Triple A match, a surprise appearance, a Danhausen causing chaos, and one final face-to-face between Cody and CM Punk. Honestly, thought that Cody and CM Punk promo was shit, but we'll get to that later. Let's start from the beginning. Smackdown opened with Finn Balor talking about SummerSlam 2016 when he became the first Universal Championship, but had to give up the title the next week. Next night, because of a shoulder injury when he got slammed into the barricade. Finn said he spent the last 10 years fighting to get back into the World Championship picture. Sami Zayn interrupted Finn. Sami Zayn complained that SummerSlam WWE Championship match should be a triple threat with Cody, CM Punk, and Sami. He said he wanted Cody to win because he's already beaten Cody fairly. And Sami Zayn also called CM Punk a fraud, a hypocrite, a corporate poster boy. I definitely agree. He just came back out of nowhere after taking a break off WWE for like 3 weeks and just automatically gets a title out of nowhere. Just when it looked like they were going to fight, Gunther attacked both men. Adam Pearce came out with security, but Gunther continued destroying Finn and Sami. And then Nick Aldis then arrived and fought Gunther, even locking him in a low clover leaf before security separated them. This was a strong opening segment and made Gunther look very dangerous before SummerSlam match against Nick Aldis. I'm actually loving the Gunther and Nick Aldis feud. That is one of the main matches I'm looking forward to. And then the next match, I think there was only 2 matches on SmackDown today. It was kind of bad. I really want them to add more matches. It's a wrestling show, so they should do more wrestling, less talking. The first match featured Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green taking on Michin and B-Fab, with Jade Cargill at ringside. Tiffany and Chelsea worked well together early, but their SummerSlam rivalry even caused problems. Charlotte Flair came down during the match and started fighting Jade. The chaos allowed Meech and B-Fab to pick up the victory. After the match, the tensions continued between Jade, Charlotte, Tiffany, and Chelsea ahead of the interim WWE Women's Championship ladder match. The match itself was fine, but it was mainly there to build for the women's ladder match at SummerSlam. And then there was a promo where Judgment Day, Dom and JD were looking for Danhausen. And then they saw Rey Fenix and the Fraxium in backstage. And then they confronted and agreed to defend the AAA Cruiserweight Champion against JD later in the show. And then what was cool was we also saw Tama Tonga and Tola Tonga talking backstage before their father, the legendary Haku appeared and gave them some motivation. I really wish WWE did like legends come back and just be managers, mentors, so we can have a pop from them and they're helping the younger stars. And then the second match was Damian Priest and R-Truth versus the War Raiders. Next, this was a massive title versus title match. Both titles on the line. The match was physical, both teams throwing each other around the ring. Things eventually got out of control when both teams shoved the ref, causing the match to be called off. After the bell, Priest, R-Truth and War Raiders continued fighting. And then Tamatonga and Tolatonga suddenly attacked both teams and then held up like the title with Haku coming out with them. What I think this will lead to is Triple Mania is right, I think after SummerSlam, but pretty close, so I feel like it'll be a triple threat for both titles, and Tamatonga and Tolatonga win, and then when they win, Haku still stays with them as like a manager and to inspire them. But the finish was disappointing because we didn't get a proper winner, but the appearance from Haku was a cool moment, and his sons looked like a serious threat to the tag team division. I think that will be the next tag team at probably Triple Mania. CM Punk and Trick Williams backstage. CM Punk was interviewing about Cody, and then Trick interrupted and told Punk he would eventually come after his title. Punk said he was actually disappointed that Trick lost the recent #1 contender match because he wanted a new challenger. Punk then told Trick that when he was finally reached the top, Punk would whoop that Trick. I thought it was a fun little teaser and possibly a future match between Punk and Trick. I feel like that would actually be a dream match, a good match. And then it was Trick Williams and Baron Corbin promo. Trick came out to the ring and instantly called out Baron Corbin. Trick insulted Corbin for returning and immediately challenged for his title. Corbin appeared on screen and said Trick was impatient and inexperienced. He promised to suffocate Trick at SummerSlam, take away his confidence and leave with the title. This wasn't an amazing segment, but it gave this SummerSlam match a tiny bit of extra heat. It really should be Trick and Carmelo Hayes, or at least a triple threat. I don't know why it's just Trick and Baron Corbin. This isn't really, the match isn't exciting me. And then what was probably the best match of the Smackdown was Rey Fenix defending the AAA Cruiserweight Champion against JD McDonough. As expected, Dominic Mysterio repeatedly interfered on JD's behalf. JD nearly won after a standing Spanish fly, but Phoenix kicked out. The ref eventually caught Dominic interfering and ejected him from the ringside. As Dominic walked up the ramp, Danhausen appeared with a group of Mini-Housens. Dan and Mini-Housens chased Dominic backstage, distracting JD. And then Phoenix took the advantage and by hitting a Mexican muscle buster to retain the title. I think this is definitely the right winner. I hope when Penta's finished with Chad Gable, I think in the match Chad Gable will win, and then hope Penta goes and joins Ray Phoenix and creates like the Lucha Bros maybe. That would be pretty sick. And then the next match was a very quick match. Was Julia and Lash Legend for the final spot in the interim women's ladder match for the championship. Julia tried to overcome Lash's size and power, but Lash was too strong, hitting one Lash extension and pinning Julia. I really wish like they both made it, like Lash and then Julia took Jade Cargill's spot would be sick, because Jade and Charlotte shouldn't be in. And then the worst feud SummerSlam match for this SummerSlam, Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. This segment continued the story of their friendship falling apart and recently accidentally physical contact between them. They talked about respect, friendship, pressure, and who needed the championship more. But honestly, this promo was shit. It was just a bunch of nonsense, and then half of it was nonsense, half of it was they were slowly taking off their gear, slowly drawing out the tension, and then Cody was slowly taking off his clothes for a brawl. What was so flat, so weak. I'm hating this feud. I really wish Sami Zayn still held the belt, or at least made like a triple threat. And it was like Finn Balor and Trick Williams, or Finn Balor and Damian Priest for number one contendership. Overall, this was a pretty bad Smackdown. The only good, there was probably like two good things. Like the opening segment involving Finn Balor, Sami, Gunther, and Nick Aldis was strong. Ray Phoenix and JD McDonough was entertaining, and seeing Haku and Tama and Tola Tonga was a cool surprise. Lash Legend qualifying for the ladder match for SummerSlam. However, the tag team tie ending in no contest I think was good, but it will lead to an even better match at Triple Mania with the Tongans versus Damian Priest and R-Truth, and versus the War Raiders for both of the titles, I think. But my rating for this Smackdown is honestly 4 out of 10. And what's making it 4 is mainly the opening segment and Ray Phoenix and JD McDonough. And the Haku coming out with the Tongans. That's what is making it 4. But other things are shit. But thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe down in the bottom. Leave any feedbacks or any video ideas. But other than that, I'm out. Peace.